Hey y'all, we're back with
More Than a Film. We're more than just a film. More than a film. More than a film. More than a film.
podcast. So, I'm Zoe.
And I'm Kai. And we're back with another episode. Y'all know we've been on hiatus for a little while. We're sorry about that. But y'all know we had to come back for Black History Month. Like, it wouldn't be More Than a Film podcast without us coming back for Black History Month.
Talking about black people. When they said Black History Month, we said where?
And when. And how long.
Period.
Only for 29 days, but you know, that's fucked up. But we gonna get into that later. But anyway, yes, welcome to More Than a Film. We're here with a very special company and very special people. Zoe, who we with today?
So we're collaborating with Color Co. They are a rental and production company right here in Atlanta, and they're connecting creatives together, creating a great community of filmmakers right here in Atlanta. So they got equipment for y'all. They got networking events for y'all. If y'all want to make a film, go to Color Co. Instagram is colorco.atl. And we're also here with two other filmmakers. We know two black girls back and forth talking about film all day long. It becomes an echo chamber. Back and forth, back and forth. So we had to bring two friends with us. We have Colbie and we have Daryus. Woo! All right, so Colbie, tell us a little bit about yourself, girl.
Of course. My name is Colbie Inez. I am a cinematographer and filmmaker based here in Atlanta.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Daryus Hawkins. I'm a cam operator and filmmaker based here in Atlanta as well.
Thank y'all for joining us today on this very special podcast.
You know, we had to come through for Black History Month.
Yes,
Celebrate.
exactly.
Appreciate
Raise the fist up.
Yes.
Okay, so we got the resumes out the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now we want to know, who are y'all really?
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with us. As a little icebreaker.
Yeah, well, just to
okay?
get us, acclimated. So, our stories, we like telling this like everywhere we go.
Yeah.
This is actually just an excuse. This entire podcast is just an excuse for us to tell people
like how we know each other.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So we grew up across the street from each other.
What?
In Douglasville, Georgia. And we went to this school called Imhotep.
Mm-hmm. IMHOTEP.
Look it up.
Spell it out. That's how we act the way we act. All right. But yeah, so we grew up across the street from each other. Mm-hmm. We both moved out of the neighborhood for a little bit, kind of lost touch. And then I think our freshman year of college, we seen each other. And you know how moms are, black moms, be like, girl, you need to go talk to your friend. You know, y'all have the same major. We was both film majors. Mm-hmm. She was film major at Howard. I was film major at Georgia State. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, you need to go connect with her because she a film major. I'm like, Mom, like, just get in the car.
Come on. Because we hadn't talked to each other for like a long time. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, like, because you know, like when you drive through the neighborhood, y'all like, hey, and then you supposed to just keep it moving. They're like, come on, y'all should make something together. Yes. So they end up talking, and then like we're like, okay, like cool, like, you know. So then Zoe invites me to her house, and then we make a film together through that summer, and from then on, it's been like, you know,
we just been making stuff since.
Right. Wow. So
yeah,
and I feel like today we're gonna be talking a lot about community and just like finding your people, trying to tell your stories. Like I feel like I really learned that through collaboration and friendship with Zoe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. I feel like when it comes to telling Black stories as Black filmmakers and things like that, like, you know, who are your people, who are you, and who are the people that surround you is so important, you know? So Can y'all tell us a little bit about yourselves, or like, you know, other stories that y'all have that kind of, you know, that got you into storytelling, and who inspired you, and who really are y'all?
Well, I was born and raised in Charlotte. I have 3 sisters, 1 brother, living in a single parent household. I remember my dad had those dad cameras, what they call it,
like a camcorder.
The camcorder. Yes. So he would visit us like almost every weekend, and he would bring the camera. And I actually have this video of me actually being behind the camera recording like my brother and my sister, and like my brother was crying to be telling me like telling me that he wanted the camera. And so he was like, I want the camera. Why you gotta be stingy? I was really stingy with the camera. I was just always holding it. But I just always remember just always wanting to be with the camera, just recording the family events. And I was actually in my elementary school, I was actually a part of the school news team. And so I learned how to like write scripts, record sound, record video. And I did that in my 4th and 5th grade year. And so I think that's where like my storytelling came from. And then fast forward to like college. I went to this junior college, wanted to major in mass communications, but I ended up dropping out because I wanted to start like my YouTube channel, like interviewing like different artists. Just really just trying to get my feet wet. But I moved to Atlanta and wanted to start my filmmaking career. And so like 2017 was really when I wanted to become a cinematographer. And I got another story. Like, I don't know, it might be too deep, but
we like to go deep.
Okay,
right.
not deep,
We like
but
to
like
go
I was
pretty
going
deep.
through a breakup. I was going through a breakup, and I feel like I use my camera as like my therapy. It's very therapeutic for me. So I whipped my camera out. I had this like one fluorescent light that I put by the window, and I was recording one of Erykah Badu's songs. I was like basically lip syncing to her song. Like I was acting like I was in a music video. And so I just stood there in front of the camera, just lip syncing and everything. And from there, that's just really, I really found the drive to like really understand lighting, composition, and all of that. And I'm self-taught. So everything I learned, I learned on YouTube and just being on set and connecting with different people. So yeah.
I would say for me, growing up in a suburb not too far from here in Lithonia, my dad, like my parents, they had like a huge collection of like DVDs. So like as a kid, like we would always just like watch it, and then plus my dad, like he would go to the movies too, so I was able to like get that experience. And I think kind of like subconsciously it just kind of just came about, you know, my passion for film. I would always record my friends doing like skits or whatever on my phone. I had like a little sidekick at the times, and I would always record like skits of them, you know, doing that. And then I went to school, and I was also in a broadcast team, just like you. Did a lot of like, you know, news bits and stuff, and I would always have my stuff like show the morning of, so that was kind of cool for me too. And then from there, I was like, my dad, he bought my first like DSLR camera, because before I was just like doing it on a point and shoot. And then from there, like once I had my first DSLR, it was a Nikon 3100. And I was like 16 at the time, didn't know anything, like was just going out there just shooting, you know, random stuff. So that was like some of the groundwork I had. And then also my friends were artists, so like I was able to shoot their music videos, no problem. And then I was just able to just, you know, put together both music and film, things that I, you know, thoroughly enjoy. And then from there, went to college at Clark Atlanta University, and then started going like, you know, I was a film major there, so I did my whole thing there. And then outside of that, like, you know, I always had a camera around me, always. I relate to what you said about the breakup, because I also had a breakup around that same time, 2015, 2016, my freshman year of college. And I bought, like, with my refund check, I bought a brand new Canon camera, and I was able to, like, shoot. So, like, during that when you mentioned how it was a crutch, like, for me, like, it was just, like, something to just get my mind away from the whole situation and go ahead and just shoot. And from there came like a small little documentary like I made with my friends called 50mm Chronicles. Cause like at the time, like the only lens that I had for the Canon was just a 50mm.
50mm, I'm about to say 50mm.
But yeah. So working with that was just like more groundwork. And I'm also self-taught as well, or YouTube, just going like to different sets. Just like, you know, meeting different people and everything like that. So that's how I was able to like build my network as well as build my skill. And, you know, we all are still learners. Like I'm still like a student to the game as well. So, you know, we on the way. But yeah, that's pretty much like the basics of, you know, how I got started into it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Something that's like very interesting that I feel like both of y'all mentioned was that like you know, your dad would take you to the movies and he had collections. Your dad, like, would walk around with the camcorder. My dad also, like, had this collection of, he showed us Crooklyn, like, you know what I'm saying? He got me into my favorite movies.
Oh my
And
gosh, yes.
he had, like, he also would do home videos that, like, we discovered. And, like, I feel like a few years ago, I came to the realization, like, sometimes, like, your family, like, is the first filmmakers or first storytellers that you, like, come across. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's so crazy that we're out here, like, trying to make a, you know, a living, a career off of it. So, like, commend everybody at this table, like, you know, for, like, going for it, you know? So that's beautiful.
Started with family.
It does.
That's crazy. Crazy to put it like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what are some films that y'all grew up on that y'all really, like, resonated with you? Or maybe that was the first time you seen a film and you were like, oh, wow, like, that's different. That's something that relates to me more than anything else. So.
You mentioned a movie, Kai.
Crooklyn.
All-time favorite coming of age film. They even told me I look like her.
Yeah. We're,
but like, huh?
I was about to say, because you say you grew up with two brothers.
Yes, that was my story.
That was our story.
Yeah. Every time and every, like, towards the end of the movie when the mom got cancer, like, I always cried because I was like, oh my gosh, that could be my mom. Like, and I was like, we got to start obeying my mama and, like, all that. We got to start listening because you never know. Like, I used to always worry about that every time I watched that film. But yeah, that was one of my favorite movies growing up, watching, just seeing those stories, seeing them, how they grew up together, how they was fighting. Spike Lee did his thing on there. That's an underrated movie that people don't be knowing. I'm like, y'all gotta watch that movie.
But the people who know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Troy changed my life.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Troy
real.
changed my life. Because I grew up with, I'm the only girl, 2 brothers. So, like, I was Troy the boy. Like, now, like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, my bad, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like my dad also showed it to me. Because he liked the movie. Because the movie came out before I was born. So, I feel like he also showed it to me purposely, because he like, okay, I know you can relate to this, you know what I'm saying? And just like the family unit, brother, like Troy, her being like a tomboy, you know what I'm saying? Her always having to fight.
Like that. And I always feel like I was like the responsible sister, and my mom would always take me to the store. She would actually give me the food stamp. Like we had the paper food stamp. Yes. And she would send me to the store, and so like I'm like, I can relate to her so much. So it's definitely an underrated movie.
That's what's up. I would say for me, it was Growing Up was The Wood. Like
that was a good movie.
Like so good. And
yes,
it's just so funny that the neighborhood that I grew up in is called Stonebridge Woods. And like I had a group I still have a group of friends now. We all lived in that same neighborhood and we used to call it The Wood. So like it's just so amazing how like, you know, it's 4 guys, well 3 guys, but it's just seeing like that whole dynamic, seeing it within my friend group, like seeing how we all kind of like go about and, you know, life and then how we come back together during, you know, celebrations like that. So like that was the big one for me, like growing up, where like my mom showed me and my sister, and like till this day, like me and her will sit down and watch it. It's just like a comfort movie, and we'll recite all the lines, because that was just like I saw myself in all of the characters, like Roland, Slim, and Mike. So like it was definitely something that like just stuck with me, like even till this day. Like it's just I see every part of the characters in all of my friends. So it's definitely one of my favorites for sure. So yeah, definitely. What about y'all?
Mine's a little ghetto. I liked Paid in Full. I loved Paid in Full so much. And like now that I look back at it, so my dad was incarcerated for like a lot of my childhood. And he was kind of incarcerated for some of, you know, the charges that they be doing on Paid in Full. So I kind of embellished in my head. I was like, okay, so this was how my dad was living back in the day before, you know, because he got locked up when I was 5. So I was just embellishing, and I just love seeing the glitz and just all like, because I feel like that movie really showed like Black people like just hyping themselves up and putting themselves on, even though they was in the hood and stuff like that. But you know, being hood rich and like before my dad went away, like he had this big Escalade, this big white Escalade. We used to have matching fur jackets.
The
like
whole nine.
yes. So I was like, I loved watching that movie. So
It felt familiar to you.
Yes. Yeah. So as we talk about Black stories, I just wanted to know, what would you define as a Black story? And to give y'all some more context. So we know like the original Color Purple that was directed by Steven Spielberg, who is a white director. And then have you guys seen They Clone Tyrone?
Yes, I have.
Absolutely.
So did you guys know that the co-writer on that movie was actually white as well?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes we have these classic Black stories or these Black stories that the creation of them is facilitated by a white person. So when do y'all draw the line of y'all like, okay, this is not a Black story and this is a Black story?
For me, it's like a Black story is also made with Black people in mind. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes you can get into the industry as a Black person and not make stuff with Black people in mind. You know what I mean? So like, for me, that's sort of how I sort of have began to define Black stories in terms of like, yes, it like what's coming from you as a Black person, but there's a second tier of it to where also who are you speaking to? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
I would say for me, where I draw the line is where like it's not relatable. It's not something that, you know, I myself, a young black man, has experienced himself. I mean, not saying that I can relate to every single story that, you know, Black directors or, you know, Black filmmakers put together. But for me, it's just like, where is this? Like, where are you getting the inspiration from to, like, you know, make this? And like, are you doing it for just the arts? Or, I mean, are you doing this for the arts, for us? Or is it like a check involved? Like, what are like the other factors that go into it like that? So that's kind of something where like I'll ask myself, like, did I really even like this? Like, is this something that I could resonate with myself? So that's kind of where like I draw the line myself. It's just like relatability, basically.
Yeah, I feel you. For me, yeah, it's like it's a feeling. Like I can't even hold you. You know, that co-writer snapped. That little white boy snapped a little bit on They Clone Tyrone. So it's like, to me, it's like, is it a feeling? Is it something that, because you might not know something is false, but you can feel it's false. You feel like you can't relate to it. And there's stuff I watch where I'm like, I can't relate to this. But at the same time, I feel the authenticity in it. Even like other racist stories. Like one of my favorite movies is The Handmaiden, which is a Korean movie. But it's like, I could feel that authenticity. You can feel when stuff is not authentic. And so I think that's what kind of separates it. Do I want non-Blacks to be making Black stories? Wouldn't be my, you know, preference.
Right.
But hey, Steven Spielberg snapped a little bit. He did his one too. Yeah. I'll give him that one thing. But yeah, I think it's really about authenticity for me.
Yeah, like you said, it's a feeling. Like if I'm feeling something and it resonates with me, like they did a good job. Although I would prefer it to be a Black person, you know, because they need to hire the Black folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I agree with the feeling.
Yeah.
So,
because it's at the end of the day, Black people gonna be able to give you that feeling more than you know what I'm saying. Somebody else, like that's our feeling. Like at the end of the day, you know. But it's like it's so many obstacles and all that stuff. But also, let's talk about it now. Like, so going back to the beginning when we're talking about our parents would tell stories even though they don't know how, like, they didn't really know what they was doing. Didn't know what they were doing, but they didn't know how impactful it would be for us. Like, you know what I'm saying? They would just pick up the camera and make something. Or, like, they would just sit around the table and tell stories. Or, you know, so it's like, you can tell stories no matter what resources, like, you have for real. So can y'all tell us the time where you told your story, like, no matter what? Or you told a story no matter what?
You ain't have nothing. You had $1 in a drink. You said you had one life.
Yeah.
You did.
There was another story I have. I don't want to cry though, but I guess we're gonna talk about
it out, sister.
I feel like I healed from it, you know. But I was pregnant in 2017, and I lost it. I just didn't have an outlet other than my camera. It was like, I gotta just get this out. And so I whipped out my camera again, and I did like a poem just talking about like how my baby could have been. You know, I miss you, I love you, I still love you no matter what. And like I was saying before, it's just something that's just so healing for me. And I'm sorry, I kind of got stuck, but.
Healing. Camera as a form of therapy.
It's a form of therapy. It is. It's just like that's what I do it for the most part. You know, I make money as a filmmaker, but it's also it's also therapeutic for me. Whenever I'm going through something, I just have to whip it out. I have to whip it out and tell that story. And also, I also wanted to. Hopefully somebody resonates with it because they can be going through something just like me, you know. So especially as Black women, so we got to stick together. And I just want to relate.
Thank you for sharing that. And you said that was in 2017, so that was like the start of your like cinematography journey. Because like I know. For me and Kai, like my first short film I made, actually no, that wasn't my short film. I made like little music videos in high school, like of nothing. But my first like real like, okay, we're gonna tell a narrative. We tried our best to tell a narrative. Was like with Kai, and we were like, okay, we just gonna get the kids in the neighborhood and we just gonna make something real quick. Like you know what I'm saying? We literally used like a rolly chair as a dolly. And we didn't even like. Looking back in hindsight, we maybe could have used a tripod. No, I'm pushing me. I'm like, come on. I'm like, oh, it's a little I'm out of breath. I'm pushing her. Okay, let's go again.
Hey, but we got a shot though. The shot is hard.
And I think about the times now as I get older because, you know, we striving for like, we trying to make this a professional life. And it's like striving for that perfection. But in the beginning, it was just something to do. It was just
it's
something
all about
for the
telling
love.
the story, no matter what.
With what you got.
What you got. And just recently, I started filming myself again because last year I kept overthinking about a lot of stuff about creating. Like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have the right camera, I don't have this. And I always have to think about how I did it in the beginning. When I was the first filmmaker, I didn't have a lot of things, but I still told a story because I got caught up in the gear and the lights, and I'm like, nah, F that.
Just shoot.
All you need is a camera.
Just shoot it.
Yeah,
you know. And then in the film, it's like a 1-minute film. I just talk about stop overthinking, just whip it out. I didn't even have no lights. I just used the natural light, the sun, you know. And everybody loved it. So.
Because at the end of the day, like, I feel like the game that we in is really, like, archiving. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, we really are, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We archiving for the future and we, like, you know, and all that stuff. And really, all you need for that is a tool. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, whether it's a pencil or a camera or your voice or all you need is a tool. You don't need all the like, you know what I'm saying? This
you
is good.
are enough.
There you go.
Period. But it's like you're in a chain, like, you know, we're trying to get into this industry that's like, you need all this, you need all that. And like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to start, but like thinking back to it, like what we were talking about, Zoe, like not that we were, I don't want to use the word naive. It was just dreamers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had a vision. We literally had this vision, like, and we shared it and we like, all right, get your little sister. My little brother got a white friend. We need that little. We need him for that little.
Bro, we come on Instagram. Do anybody know any white people, y'all? We need them for a scene because it was about gentrification.
But the crazy shit is though. The crazy thing is, and I discovered this on our film. Kind of getting into how film is it's really a magical sort of tool because not saying like I really feel like we tapped into something when we were doing. Where did they go? Because our neighborhood that we had grew up in, then we came back. And then it was already getting gentrified. But then Douglasville is getting so, like, gentrified right now. Like, it's so crazy. Like, it's almost unrecognizable. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was kind of like our goodbye a little bit. Because then we both moved out of the neighborhood. And, like, some other things happened that sort of, like, it was like a closing off of our like childhood a little bit, you know? So do y'all have those times where like the medium, the art form, like is so, because we can get into it. I really feel like Black people are spiritual beings, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially when we talk through film and we talk through these mediums, we're archiving, like we're tapping into something like greater, you know what I'm saying? So do y'all have any stories like where like, you know, maybe something you're making, something you're working on is like, it's just like that magical element that you can't quite explain, but you know, like something was there, you know?
Yeah. So for me, I would say recently, back in 2020, we worked, me and my partner, Carrie Garrett, we both own a production company, House of Productions, and we worked on a 5-part dance visual series called Long Shot Atlanta. And so, we started like from the groundwork, just like, you know, storyboard and stuff, like, you know, the whole pre-production, like, you know, list and everything. But once we got to production, there were many different like factors. Each week had like its own just huge problem. And like, I want to say like every time we worked on a different, like, you know, part of the series, like all of the people we had with us were like, they were like just as engaged as we were. So like, I feel like them bringing that same energy like to the project as like us, the creators, like having that same energy and that same like one goal was definitely something that like helped us like finish it in its entirety. And there was one specific time on our last shoot. It was a really bad like rainstorm. The power went out at the location that we were working on, and like we didn't have any power at all, like no type of external like generators, anything, and we were still able to like get it done effectively, like without power. And so like literally the whole west side of Atlanta like had no power, and we were still able to like fully get the whole project done. And it was just the whole, like everybody had that same common goal to get it done, and just bringing that energy with them each time was what like helped us get to the finish line. And from there, like the project came out in 2020, and still to this day, like we are literally showing it like at so many different festivals and whatnot. So I just feel like when you have when you have a whole team full of people with one common goal, and they bring that every single week to the project, and you know they want to get it done, they're enthused about it, like I feel like that is what propelled us past like just YouTube and just like, you know, showing it for friends. Like we've actually, the places that project has gone since then, like we would have never imagined back when we didn't have power just to shoot it. So like that was definitely something where like we were all tapped into the same spirit per se. So yeah, right. I would definitely like, you know, say that as one of the most like satisfying like moments as just a filmmaker, just seeing just where it went. Like, so yeah, I would say that for sure.
People say movie magic, but it's really magic. It's really magic. Like, there's nothing to play with.
And it's so, we talk about the magic that we made with, you know, little to no tools and things like that. But can you talk about some of the tools like you've kind of wish are more easy to access and things like that going into trying to create these stories? Because I know for me, like when I got into Georgia State and like I started connecting with filmmakers, I realized really quickly the filmmakers who had parents that invested in their dreams and things like that, and the filmmakers who didn't, completely two different experiences, you know? And Black people, we are getting better at valuing art and getting better at valuing filmmaking and things like that, but we at the end of the day are not the people that make change. Like we're not the yes men, we're not the things like that. So how has it been kind of just like navigating not having tools? What's the importance of having tools? And then how do you like try to get the most tools that you can to make what you can make, you know? I know it's a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions. I know for me, I had to get a corporate job, you know? And like I'm like, okay, I gotta get this corporate job. I gotta make this money so that this can fund like what I want to do. We see a lot of stuff about like grants and things like that, but a lot of it is politics. A lot of it is they want you to tell a certain type of story, but sometimes you gotta let people like free up. Like, you gotta free up some of them constraints on them grants and things like that, because the best stories don't come from a prompt, you know? They come from something else. They come from spirit, like you said, and magic, like you said.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, I want to bring it back to the community. Like, just like definitely the people I have in my creative community have definitely helped me. Like, and even when I don't have like myself, like I can reach out to my community and, you know, go ahead and see what I can take from them as well. So I really would say, like, mainly if there's any type of like roadblock or something that like I really wanted myself but I don't have, like I just reach out to like my mentors or even like, you know, my partners. We all figure out, like, if we can't get it, we're gonna figure out how we can get close to it, right? Without you know, without losing like that same vision that we have. So having the community that are just as invested in whatever you all are working on, like that definitely helps. I mean, you mentioned grants earlier, and I mean, we bringing back to the dance visual we had, Carrie, she was actually able to write a grant for that. And at first, she should tell us, but at first, she was only going to do like the minimum, which I think was like $1,500 or like $5,000. And then she was able, her mom, you know, persuaded her to go ahead and go for the whole amount. And we were able to get the whole $10,000 grant to work on that. So we were actually able to pay crew. I got paid, you know, our dancers got paid and everything. So just having those resources. I mean, she is a part of my community as well. So like having good people who not only have like those tangible skills in film and production themselves, but having like outside skills like writing grants or dealing with the politics, like you mentioned. So just bringing it all back, just community.
Yeah.
Like, definitely.
I was just about to say that community, and because I know, like, when I shot my short film, I was like, I really want to pay people. And so I actually started crowdfunding. We were able to raise like $8,600. It was a one day shoot, but I still lost money on that. But it's all good.
I mean, you got it done.
But yeah, I definitely wanted to pay my people for sure. But I still had to pull in favors. I had to like ask them, like, can we barter on something? Like, I'll work on your set or something. So things like that, just tapping into your community, not being afraid to ask, you know? Like,
it's tough for me. You're
for
right.
real, like, not being afraid to ask, because it's tough for me too, because my pride, you know? Like, and I'd be afraid of rejection. I just hate that, you know? But I mean, we in this industry, so it's gonna always be rejection.
Always.
So, you know, the worst thing they can say is no, you know what I mean?
You just move on.
But yeah.
And low key, like, it's so amazing how whenever like you make it, you know, like y'all like on the street or something, and like you're doing a shot or something, and somebody will come by and be like, "Oh, y'all shooting a movie? What y'all movie about? Put me in your movie." Like, I would be mad excited about movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what y'all shooting? What you shooting?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that hump that I feel completely is about asking, and like, you know, asking, like, because you have to ask and you have to like lean on, like, you have to, and sometimes you have to feel comfortable. Like, if you lean, like, you gotta be comfortable that you're gonna get caught, like, you know. So like, that's the whole thing. Like, and it's like, I'm scared to lean because are they gonna be able to give me this, or like, am I gonna look too needy and stuff like that? But you know, like, we gotta count on each other at the end of the day. Like, you know, like, I literally could not have shot the film without Color Code. Like, you know what I'm saying? They came through, like, you know, like, they came through. Like, you know, come on. Like, so it's I actually got into the shooting now yesterday. I was like, I'm shooting this project next weekend. Please. They don't have a budget, but like, they came through, and I was like, I really appreciate you, because Community. That's period. Yeah. Family, community.
Make sure you build relationships.
Yes, that shit is so important.
Very important.
Exactly. Shout out to Color Code.
Shout out to y'all. So, real question. Do y'all think there are still a need for movies about slavery in the industry? I'm sorry.
I think you was going to ask. That's a serious question.
Sorry, I've been waiting. I want to hear the thoughts and the opinions.
Go ahead.
Honestly, no. I mean, like, unless it's unique. If it's a unique way of telling the story about slavery, then maybe yes. But like, we are not a monolith. Like, we have more stories to tell. We're not just.
We all were enslaved.
Yeah, like we so much more than that. You know, why do we have to keep telling these stories over and over again? These traumas, you know, like.
Well, give me an example of like a film that is trauma based. Our film or a show.
Get Out.
What?
Oh, that is definitely
you shaking the
trauma-based.
table.
But we need to get out.
Do you feel like it's trauma based?
Is that trauma based? Is it about trauma or
it is trauma based?
Trauma in it.
But I definitely love it. Like yeah, he really did his thing. That, I ain't gonna lie.
And I'm not saying that I don't love it, but those are the type of like if we're gonna do trauma based like projects, that's the direction. That's where we need to go because it's just it's tasteful. It's tasteful and it's not brash. It's not like white people steal, white people do this type stuff. It's not them. It's not us being slaves. I mean, Chris, the main character, lived in a nice apartment. He was a photographer.
Right.
It had layers. It had more than just the trauma. Like, that's it.
And that's what I was saying. Like, if they're gonna shoot trauma based films, make it unique. Like, it got to be a unique way of telling the story. So yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't feel like Get Out is necessarily trauma based. Like, I feel like it's a thriller, and I feel like it talks about race. But when I think about trauma, like I think about seeing like a person get lynched on
I feel you.
On like a show or something like that. Like something that shakes me, like, and really unsettling. Yes. Like when I watch, when I watch that type of stuff, but I can't say I am tired of the race thrillers.
Absolutely.
In the past.
He kicked it off.
Yeah, and he did it, and
we just getting started though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we really tapping it. We really just getting started. Like,
true.
I have a certain opinion about stories because I really also feel like we can still have movies about slavery, but like the reason why it's so bad right now and why we don't fuck with it is because one, it's not from a Black perspective. Two, it's more shit we can say. Like, we just been so controlled, like over, like, you know what I'm saying? In the industry, we've just been so controlled. I just feel like there's so much more shit we can tap into. Like Jordan Peele, like you said, he kicked it off. The problem with it is everybody's trying to make another Get Out. Like, make your own shit. But he really kicked off a new genre. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Race thrillers, that's another way where you can talk about trauma without recreating it. You know what I'm saying? Because movies are so powerful. You sit there, whatever's coming through the screen, like, I feel like you got to take into account your audience because whatever coming through the screen is entering your body. So you can recreate trauma. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a Black person making a film, whatever it's about, you can give people trauma again. Like, you're not, like, you know what I'm saying? You're not exempt from that.
No,
like, you know what I mean? So it's like, we can tell our stories, like, and trauma, that's a part of life, you know? But it's like, how are we actually, like, able to put it on screen in a different way or like, you know, balance it out, you know?
Yeah, we gotta have a nice balance.
Yeah, sure. And genre can help with that.
Because that movie was the movie Beloved.
Yeah.
I could never finish it. I'm like, that's too much. I don't know. I don't know who directed it.
Spielberg directed it.
Oh, Spielberg. Okay.
But you know, it's some like people get into this about Toni Morrison too because Toni Morrison, and that's why I really brought up the combo because Toni Morrison, all her books got trauma in it.
Yes,
got Black trauma in it. All of it is, you know what I'm saying? But then you turn it into a movie, you put images outside of your head. That's a whole different thing.
It's the images part. I could never get
you don't have to
past
show everything.
an hour. I was like, I can't. Yeah. It's too much. I gotta stay away.
What are some types of content, movie, TV shows, things like that we need to put down? What are some type of filmmakers we need to put down? Like, it's not going to push us forward, nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like we gotta put down we have to put down educational Black shows. I guess like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the show where the movie is teaching you about racism Who is that for? Who are we teaching about
for me.
racism? Because Black people know what racism is and white people know what racism is. So I be confused as to what is the audience, and we could just put it down. You could just focus on telling your story, maybe telling a story about gentrification or telling a story about a person that's code switching, like showing them, but you don't gotta explain it. You don't gotta be like, this is what we go through, like lined out, you know?
I don't know if I can agree with that. I think we should continue to show that.
Why?
Because,
who do you think it is for, I guess?
It's for the other people. It's for people that's not in our culture, that doesn't understand who we are, what we go through. Because they already taken away those books in school. They taken away a lot of things. So I don't understand why that should be taken away.
I feel like I see what you're saying, for other cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like
maybe I
was say no. I feel like I see what you're saying, but I was
okay.
about to say I feel like the kids it's for the kid. I could see us explaining it for the kids. We need it for the kids. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the kids still need to know. But for adults, you know what I mean? Full grown adults, that's how we do it, is we teach the kids, and then in generations, we don't got to teach adults, but we got to teach adults. I feel like Black artists shouldn't have the responsibility per se to teach others. You know what I'm saying? We have the responsibility to talk to each other.
No, I feel like we're one of the only people that half of our stories are educational. Half of our stories are we need to tell. We don't get to just have a story about 3 kids going to school and coming home, and you know what I'm saying? We don't get to have Harry Potter. We don't get, because half of our stories, we explain this stuff to other people. We explain this stuff because we got to get what happened to books?
I think
what happened to education, documentaries.
You're right.
Why does everything, half the resources of the industry, half the studios is tent-poling movies and TV shows and stuff that's really just about education.
I feel you.
Where is our representation? Where is our story about a girl that seen her parents get divorced or something like that? And when we finally get it, it's groundbreaking. When Issa Rae makes Insecure, it's so groundbreaking. Yeah, that's literally just a show about a Black woman in her 30s.
Right.
Well, it just shows how much we don't get we don't get the resources to tell the regular shit. When I did a documentary for school, I was filming Zoe, literally going to work and doing her hair and stuff like that. And there was this shot in there, I'll never forget this shit. There was a shot in there of her just doing her edges. And I was doing a showing, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is what we need to see. That is so, her doing her edges, that is what we need to see. And I'm like, that's true. You know what I'm saying? There's a girl, there's a Black woman in the back of the class talking about something. I had tears in my eyes. It was so, you know what I'm saying? It was, no, dead ass. I have tears in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the regular shit that is it can be educational, you know what I'm saying? But it can also just show, just seeing that on screen, and sometimes we just don't.
I've seen it all the time.
Yeah.
It's a thing with studios. They like to show things that keep people talking. We're talking about now. It's okay, we're going to produce something like this, We just got to tell our own stories. We don't have to wait on the studio, Hollywood.
Exactly.
I really honestly don't want to be a part of Hollywood.
Literally.
I love being independent. I love being an independent filmmaker.
Wow.
I'll call my own shots. I create my own community, and we just build from there. I don't have to wait on Hollywood for anything. I don't want to be a part of that at all.
Absolutely not.
That's
no, because we just said, all you need is a camera. You know what I'm saying? You don't need them. We don't need them.
That's a very interesting take, because I feel for me, just personally, where I plan on going career wise, I want to be. I don't want to be straight Hollywood, but I want.
Right, I don't want to chase it. If they come to me, then I'll take the call.
Exactly.
But I ain't trying to. I'm not trying to.
I want to be that person.
That's not my goal.
But I really do want to infiltrate Hollywood on on just the Black experience. I want to be able to have a seat at the table with like the same like playmakers who like been doing like this Hollywood stuff or whatever, and I just want to just take, you know, show them my world, like show them my world in a sense. So I definitely like, I don't want to be like straight Hollywood, but I do want like a piece of like that,
a piece of the pie,
That's
a piece of the pie, like
that's an interesting word that you bring up is infiltration. Like what, like do you if you were to infiltrate Hollywood, because there's two, like I feel like there's two things that we can do. Or there's probably more things that we can do, but we can infiltrate or we can go around. You know what I'm saying? And you know how they say, like, when you go into a system, like, you can't necessarily, like, change it from within. But then there are some arguments where you can change it from within. You know what I'm saying? So what's y'all stance on that? Like, when you say you want to infiltrate Hollywood, break it down to me, like, how and, like, are there any examples of people like, you know, who you feel like have done it successfully? You know what I mean?
When I say like infiltrate, I mean it in the sense that like I'm staying true to my image as like a black man. I'm telling my story as a black man, but I tell it on a grand scheme, on not a grand scheme, but on a grander scale. Like it's reaching past like just black and white folk. It's reaching overseas, reaching like, you know, different like people of color outside of just like our own race. So like when I say like infiltrate, I really want to like make, like I don't want to like completely take over, but I do want like a really good, like, what am I trying to say? I want a share of like what these other big Hollywood directors, cinematographers, what they like, the opportunities that they have, like, you know, as well. I want to be able to like do that for myself and pass it along to the next person who looks just like us. So that's what I mean is like as infiltrate. And I keep going back to bro, but like I would say for me, like Jordan Peele definitely like infiltrated like Hollywood, because now like he's able to shoot whole movies in IMAX now. Like, you know, starting out, you know, he wasn't able to. And then even then when he was doing like sketch comedy on Comedy Central and whatnot, like that was, of course, it was a piece of him, but it was also like it was able to reach out to like, you know, different communities and like things like that. So I just want to be able to like give my spiel on like how I like, you know, how I came up, and then eventually give that same inspiration to like someone else coming up as well. So that's pretty much like the gist of it.
Yeah.
Say, what about you?
I know for me, like there's not a lot of black people behind the camera, specifically black women behind the camera, specifically black cinematographers behind the camera. So it's just like, if I ever get on that level, I'll hire everybody black, like Issa Rae said. Oh, what she say?
I'm rooting for
everybody. Same thing.
Same
I'm
thing.
hiring everybody black. Because we it's just time to take over. Like, should I say take over?
Yeah,
take over.
Yeah.
Like,
Take over.
yeah, like, period.
Yeah.
You know, they can't keep telling our stories, like,
Mm-mm.
and they need to have the confidence enough for them to hire us, because we can do the same thing you're doing. You know,
Exactly.
It's just the fact they have more resources. So, if I'm ever in that on that platform, I would definitely hire more black people.
When I worked on BMF season 2, I actually got really acclimated with the camera crew because majority of them were black, and actually we had a black first, a black second, and then we also had we did have like, you know, white people, like we had a white woman who was our first, and then. But you would go to the DP, and the DP is like, you know, a different race or whatnot.
Of course.
But it felt comforting, and I felt like a lot of the qualities that those ACs that like the same ACs that I was working with, I saw a lot of the qualities in them that I wanted to instill in myself. So like it helped me put like my career and everything in perspective, because like I was able to see somebody who looks just like me in a high, you know, camera position. Like, you know, we really don't have that many of us, and especially, you know, I have like a little bit of experience like on saying that because I am a part of the union, and I do like go to these like meetings with people and everything, and it's probably about to like 8 to 9 white folks, and then it's like 1 or 2 black folks. So like, I really appreciate like seeing like us, especially since we do camera work. Like I really appreciate seeing somebody who looks like me working beside them, and it
just makes the job so much easier just to see your own self. Like,
exactly.
Oh my God. I feel like they undermine us.
Yeah,
they undermine us, and it goes. This is what I want to talk about too. As a DP. I don't know. I just be feeling like I gotta reach my ceiling here in Atlanta, and because a lot of these producers are hiring the DPs that's either in LA or New York, and they're not really hiring local crew. Yeah. And so I was thinking like maybe I should just move to LA or New York for a year to really establish myself, so that I can feel respected when I come back here in Atlanta. So it's like, what's going on? Like, why aren't they hiring us?
Because sometimes I feel but I also feel like it's hard to, but sometimes I just feel like we can't like they are never going to hire us. Like, you know, like they're never going to. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it's just like you gotta like really, really prove yourself.
Yeah, but like
you gotta work 3. I know that's.
Fuck that.
I know.
Like, you know what I mean?
I want to say fuck that too, but like it is what it is. Like
it is what it is. But also you doing your thing. Like we literally just sat here. We talked about what you did.
Yeah.
On your own thing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
What you did on your own thing. What you did on your own thing with your community, with your resources that you knew. You know what I mean? And it's like, yes, we want the seat at the table. Yes, we want, because I want that budget too. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I want that budget. I want to work on the.
You know what I'm saying? I have so much I gotta say. I want that budget, but I feel like, you know, like with me and Zoe, we had the conversation of one of our podcasts, like our first episode. We were talking about they, like who is they, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're always feel like we always got to answer to a system, and sometimes that shit is just heartbreaking because it's like I feel like we're smart enough, we're talented enough, we're guided enough, we're resourceful enough to build on our own, but it's just like it's that push and pull. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You always want to infiltrate, but you always want to build your own thing, like, you know what I'm saying? It's so crazy, like, but I don't know, like,
gotta find a balance.
I know, but it's like, where's that balance?
Gotta make compromises. Yeah. Take what you can from, you know, from they, and then you know, take what you can from yourself, and meet at the middle.
True.
Meet at the middle.
Terrence Nance, he has this. He had came to NYU to speak last year, and I don't know if y'all seen Random Acts of Finest, season 2, and he was talking about, you know, how they talk about the pirates and the kings, and basically kings, like, you know, they he was talking about like how kings and pirates, like, they operate, there's two sides that you can operate, and both serve a purpose, but like kings, like, they have the resources from the system, and pirates, they kind of operate on the outside. But then he was talking about how also, like, sometimes as a Black person in the industry, you kind of got to operate like a spy. Like, you gotta kind of like go in, like, you gotta go into the house, take the resources, and get the fuck out, because you don't want it. You don't want to be in the house when it burns down, because honestly, it's about to burn. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you go get what you need, but you can't stay long. Like, you have to go get what you need and then bring it out to build, you know?
So we all have dreams of, like, you know, that we want to achieve, and we're kind of still more new in our careers and things like that. But what advice could you give, some tangible advice could you give to someone, or even yourself, 4 years ago, that would want to be where you are now, or just in trying to get more into the film industry, things like that?
Stop overthinking. Connect with the filmmakers in the industry. Build relationships. Keep building. And learn on set, like, whatever you feel is fit for you. I know when I came in this industry, I was doing sound, I was doing all kinds of stuff, like gripping, gaffing, especially being in the lighting department. That actually made me become a better DP, just learning about lights and stuff like that. So just stop overthinking and just start creating.
Was there certain websites that you went on or anything? Like, let's give them some.
Oh, YouTube University.
YouTube University. I'm a graduate.
And asking questions from other filmmakers. Yeah.
Definitely
about
ask
you,
questions.
Daryus?
I mean, it's kind of the mirror image of what you said. Like, just build your network, have strong relationships, maintain those relationships. Oh my, like I personally struggle with that myself because I don't. Like, these are people I look up to and I want to get work from. So I have a huge problem with like just being a friend to them before wanting to be a colleague. And that's something that I'm learning like now as I like, you know, further my career. Like just be personable. Be
organic.
Be organic. Like, they know you hungry.
Right.
Like, they know you want
Calm
a job.
down.
Like,
get your chance, you know.
Like, they know that you want it.
Right.
And like, you just have to just be consistent, be really consistent with maintaining those relationships, because like you could mess around and really like lose opportunity to fall through the cracks if you don't maintain those relationships. Check in on folks. See how they doing. Like, you don't even have to like, hey, I'm available, I need some work. Nah, like, just say what's up. Like, I ain't heard from you in a minute. Like, you know, I'm just checking to see if everything good. Be coachable. Like, a lot of us, like even myself, I can get caught up in just like, oh, what I already know, and I feel like, oh, like I don't, you know, just be coachable, be a sponge, soak it all in. Like how you mentioned how when you first started out, you were doing everything. I myself, like I started out, I knew I wanted to get to camera, but like I didn't know how to navigate through you know, just being just a PA on this set.
Right.
And that's why like I was able to build networks with people, build like relationships with those folks that I want to get to, and that's what, you know, helped me get to where I'm at now. So it's just being like ready, being ready.
Yeah.
When the opportunity calls, when coach call you in the game, like
don't be afraid.
Get up and go.
Right.
But so it's just definitely just jump into it and have respect for it. Have respect, because like, you know, a lot of these people are professionals. That's something like outside of just them being a person. Yeah, they're professional. Right. Like, we do this at the highest level. We want to do it at the highest level. So like, it's a matter of just like being professional. Like, you know, so that's all I can really give to it. For real.
And being able to be okay with failing forward. You know, we all gonna fail at something. Just go through the ropes with that. That's gonna teach you a lot of things. So
for sure,
I'll say be able to fail forward.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for coming. I feel like we got into it. We talked about slavery. We talked about
trauma.
Listen, we talked about trauma. We talked about childhood. If you didn't know us before, you definitely know us now. Okay. Yeah. I hope you got a little bits of knowledge up in there. I hope you stay black. I hope you stay proud. If you're not black, I hope you thank a black person for existing. Anything else you want to say?
No, just thank y'all for being here and being open to this conversation. Like we were saying earlier, like this is really the archive. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
look back.
This was fun.
Years, you know?
This
so,
was fun. I kind of took a lot of, not to cut you off, I took a lot of what you all were saying. Like, I kind of internalized a little bit of that myself. So it's kind of like I've got new notes to take myself.
No, for real.
And part of it also is I feel like I was talking to myself in a sense. Like, so it's definitely cool, you know, doing this for sure.
Yeah, and we're building community here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because usually I'll just be like, well, you know, since COVID hit, like it got worse for me, but I was like in my own world a lot, you know, just not wanting to connect and reconnect, you know. I don't know who said it was checking in. You said check in with people. I gotta learn how to check in with people, you know.
Absolutely.
Everything like, well, they ain't checking in on me, like,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can talk about that too,
yeah.
But you know, just being intentional and checking in.
And speaking of community, one last time I want to give a big thank you to Color Co.
Thank you, Color Co.
Yes. We have all been personally helped by them in some type of way. Yes. And they really changing like the way indie filmmakers connect throughout Atlanta through their equipment, their network, them as people. Hopefully we can see them in front of the camera one day.
Color Code.
Yeah, come on.
So it's y'all turn. We gonna switch.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little shout out. No, but yeah, thank y'all so much, Color Co. And we appreciate y'all. Like, y'all doing more than y'all know. Or y'all probably know because y'all doing it, but y'all doing it. You know what I'm saying? The action is like the biggest thing. And I think it's very inspiring. And we really appreciate y'all. And these films can't get made without y'all for real. So like, shouts out to y'all. And thank you. Yeah. So. Happy Black History Month.
Yeah. Happy Black History Month. That is more than
actually, y'all should come in the camera and
we're more than just
come on, Color Code. Come on, Color Code. More than a film. Come on. More